As we get ready to say bye-bye to 2021 and hello to 2022, I thought it would be nice to pick some of the best episodes that we've had throughout the years. Now, the choice was not an easy one to make because we've had some outstanding guests this year, and we've had some outstanding episodes together. But I've selected some that where there was the more visibility, comments, or questions from you and from my clients. So without further ado, let's check out the best of 2021.
Trap, this PowerPoint trap, where we have to meet a client or we have to give a presentation or we have to share something in a meeting. They start with PowerPoint. They put it all on PowerPoint, and then they get to the meeting and then they not just read the PowerPoint, but they speak to the PowerPoint. They just go over everything that the PowerPoint says, but they haven't put in, like you said, they haven't put in that before stage. What do I need the audience to learn? What do I need the audience to feel about what I'm saying? What do I need them to do? Like, what is my end game here so that I could lead them in the right direction? Because the temptation, once you have your PowerPoint in front of you, you're just going to follow your PowerPoint. And it's going to be very difficult. Yeah, very difficult to move around the PowerPoint. But if you just use it as like like something to consult, and you are very clear on what your roadmap needs to be before you even get into that meeting, like what you need out of that meeting, you don't have to waste your time or their time just going through pieces of a PowerPoint, but really sharing the message, right? And really getting them to where you want them to get to get.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because communication, like I was saying, and like if we go full circle, communication is our main tool.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what type of business that you're in, really. If you can't communicate it in a consistent way that's going to get the other person to take action, your business is not going to go forward.
Absolutely.
Team is not going to go forward. So I love how you bring that framework into how do we structure a talk, a conversation, a meeting that's coming up. And yes, if you want to do a conference, probably we should have had this talk before I did that other conference a few weeks ago.
Sure, you were fabulous.
Oh, but I wanted to help so much. But it was so funny. The other speaker was like, man, there's just so much information in there. Like, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And we have a tendency to do that.
We do, because you're in a service-based business and you have the expertise and you want people to, you want to help people. You want to help them grow. You want to help them learn. You want to help them be more successful because that makes you more successful, right? It's all just this wonderful cycle. Yeah. But it takes like a very conscious effort to stop ourselves and go, okay, I can't say that thing is like this one thing. Oh, I love it. It's so powerful. It's so wonderful. I can't say it because there's not enough time. Yeah. Right? There's not enough time. It's too much based on all the other things that I'm talking about. And it really forces you to be choosy about what it is you're talking about. And it forces you to stay on message.
And my invitation for you this week is actually to not be part of the mass, to have a marketing message that sticks. What does that mean? Is in marketing, you want to sell them what they want, give them what they need. What does that mean? Is people are buying a transformation. They're not buying your service. They're not buying your expertise. They're not buying your product. They are buying the transformation for them. So let's take an example.
I would call it a self-awareness tool, versus a personal development tool. So we have these personal development assessments like, Myers-Briggs, Strengths Finder. I would call this a self-awareness tool. So I call it like the spiritual Myers-Briggs or the spiritual Strengths Finder. Yeah, so it is an amazing tool that I found super helpful in really getting to know myself, and also in working with clients, whether I'm actually doing the human design with them and teaching them, or just for my own awareness of our relationship and connection between each other, because it is really, human design is about energetics. And so it's our own energetics and really tapping into that and our innate strengths but also our energetics with other people. And that is a huge part of human design.
As we're watching, obviously I have my chart right there, so I like glance at it. So let's go for it. My inner authority is splenic.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That is, so that is intuition. You make your decisions in this strong, intuitive sense in the moment. It is a very powerful, deep feeling of yes or no, like in the moment. Like I have emotional authority. So that is emotional is the most common one. And it's like you have this strong wave of feeling within your body. And that comes from your solar plexus. Mm-hmm. And then with the emotional authority, it's not that immediate yes or no. There's an immediate yes or no in the moment, but you're not meant to make a decision in the moment because there's so many emotions that also come up. So you're meant to sleep on it or wait a few days before you say yes to things and then regret later that you said yes to something that wasn't actually a solid yes. So there are 9 different, there are 7 different authorities. There are 7 different authorities. And they're all just how we are meant to make decisions and understanding and giving ourselves permission to accept a gut response in the moment and know that's how we're meant to do it, or feel that response and then wait, sleep on it. And the feeling we have in the morning, that's the right answer. There are people who are meant to wait a full lunar cycle or many, many days or even weeks before they make decisions, because reflectors fall into this category because they are so influenced by other people's energy. They have to take a lot of time to rid themselves of all of the energy that comes from other people and make the decision from their true self.
Really, and I've been pushing this out from a thought leadership perspective on my space, is really around a professional digital presence is the foundation to a full-blown personal branding strategy. And I would argue that most people just require a professional digital presence so that they are actively using it as a relationship tool. They occasionally are posting content, right? And it needs to be that validation tool, that credibility tool. So, and it has to influence when I look you up, I see what I get. But then as people grow and they want to increase their visibility because of it will match the strategy that they want to accomplish within their business, then they have to get even more visible. But for most professionals that cannot give the time to social media that it really requires to build a full-blown personal brand, at least have a professional digital presence that truly articulates what you do and how you serve, has some content, which would be typically evergreen content. So meaning content that doesn't go stale. It's not about the news that's happening right now. Not to say that that content is not bad, because it's great, but having the stuff that would validate their expertise. As long as you're sharing, and here's the difference. So while I only share once a week, I go for value. I know we're so tired of this word value because we hear it all the time. You got to deliver value, you got to show your value, blah, blah, blah. We're tired of that word, but it's the truth.
Yes.
So my brand is that when you hear me speak, when you consume my content, by the time you're done, you would have learned something today. So that's what I want. And so that's my brand. So, and in fact, I think that most service-based entrepreneurs, consultants, professionals, they need to think about it that way too, that the content that they're putting out there, who is it serving and what are they going to learn today? And sometimes it's not all that learning. You can mix in some, I'm not saying that, don't mix in fun, because fun's great. But I think that when you have a conservative effort towards social media, make sure you're really thinking about your audience and that they're learning from you. And because that will then just project your expertise and your experience.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And it's such an old cliche, but we don't do business with other businesses. We do business with human beings, right? So like you said, it's all about trust. It's all about relationship building, connection. And we know humor can help us connect with people. It can help us stand out from the herd to be heard. And we know from studies too, when we use humor with our customers or clients, it can actually help reduce their resistance to a price, to paying a certain fee. It can increase our response rate in email messages. There's one study I have in my book where it talks about salespeople who just include a safe, non-offensive, funny cartoon related to their business, related to their industry. That always helps, I think. Yeah. To their clients. And when they send the cards, they get a much higher response rate. And I have this great study. I love this study, Sarah, that I talk about, where they did this one study where they're seeing how humor affects negotiation tactics in terms of the sale of an expensive, I think it was a $6,000 piece of art, a painting. And so they did in this study one kind of control group where they just kind of tried to negotiate this price. But in the other group, at the end of the offer, the salesperson trying to sell this painting for $6,000 said, and I'll throw in a pet frog for you. Right? That's all he said, right? So you'll get the painting for $6,000, plus I'll throw in a pet frog. Well, it was insane, but the study showed there was a huge difference. Just adding something that silly, that goofy, that kind of little humor thing caused people to be way less resistant to paying the $6,000, right? If employees are having fun, chances are our customers are having fun. If our customers are having fun, chances are our employees are going to have more fun, right? It all ties together.
And then we all go and laugh all the way to the bank.
Yes, exactly. And on the customer stuff too, I mean, we didn't talk a lot about this, but a simple thing you can do too is just go through every single touch point that you have with your customers and just ask yourself, is there just a simple way we could make this a little more fun? Is there something we could do to just stand out in our email signature, even in our invoices, adding a funny quote, putting more humor on our social media, on our website, on our voicemail. I remember phoning Shutterfly, the online photo web sharing site years ago, got the usual automated voicemail response. But at the end, they had this awesome option. If you'd like to hear all these options again, but in pirate, please press 9.
Yeah. So the number one mistake I see is rather than approaching their target audience with a solution, they approach a target audience with a giant list of everything that they offer.
Yes. Oh.
So you're on social media, you're posting, we can do this and we can do that and we can do this and we also this and we can do this add-on and we also have. And I think that instinctively we feel like if somebody knew everything that we did, one of those things is going to resonate, right? So we sort of word vomit out this big list of all the things that need to happen, or, I can do this and I can do that. And it's just overwhelming. It's not a solution. It's just a list. So, I think the solution there for that issue with marketing is to really stop and think about who your target audience is, what their pain points are, and then to be able to say, this is how my product or service solves your pain point. Things like social media. If you're posting on social media consistently or not. And you asked me earlier, biggest mistakes. You don't need to be posting 4 times a day. Most companies can post a few times a week. And as long as they're engaging well, that's enough. It's a digital legitimacy, right? Unless you're going to go whole hog into social media, you just need that consistency and subject matter expertise. Same thing with emails and blogs and photos and videos. Kind of get a snapshot of where you are. And then you can either say, well, this is where we are, and write down, this is where we want to be, right? In terms of activity or your growth goals. Or you could call around and say, hey, I need to speak with some marketing agencies, with some people who do strategy, and figure out what your options are, right? So you don't have to have all the answers, but if you're able to say, this is where we are and this is where we'd like to be, then you can start to create that step-by-step roadmap, either as a team internally or hiring someone outside. And it doesn't always have to be they do it for you. Like, post-COVID, we've had a lot of people that are like, we can't afford to hire someone to do it for us. We need to do it ourselves, but we need guidance, right? We need a guide on the road, right? And so, we created a marketing mentor program. So it's like, hey, on a monthly basis, we'll do a call and check in with you. We will help you define the path. We will check accountability and numbers and help you understand everything. So I want your audience to hear me say this. You don't have to have $50,000 to just like hire someone to do all your marketing in order to make a really big impact. Simply having a monthly focus on it and sort of batching out some things will move you in the right direction. And one thing that I'll mention, Sara, we had not talked about this, but I'd love to be able to offer anyone who's watching or listening. I will kind of offer a free marketing mentor session. So normally we have them sign up for like a 6-month coaching plan and that kind of thing. But if it would be helpful to your audience to kind of get a little assistance with their audit, I would be happy to have our team do that and kind of do like an initial session to give them an idea of what it's like and what they're looking for, so that whether, it's looking at our stuff and working with us or hiring another marketing agency or doing it themselves, they can kind of get a better idea of what the options are.
What are the steps to delegate properly?
So here are some key things you want to keep in mind. First, understand your process. If you can get what you do intrinsically and that's living in your body out and on paper, then you can see the full range of what you want this person to do and what you want them to own in your business. So get that body wisdom needs to come out and be able to be transferred to someone else. Basically, that needs to happen. The other thing is that when you're starting to hire for projects before you hire for a committed person. So in other words, you want to kind of use those projects as interviews. So one of the things is if you're looking for a social media manager, for example, somebody that's going to do that, hire them for a project first. Maybe you want that person to organize the posts that you've been posting on social media. Give them that project, that little thing. And that project will see, do they know what they're doing with regards to social media? But more so, are they a fit to work with you? Are they responsive? How do they communicate that something's missing or they're behind? Do they communicate it at all, or do they ghost? That's the time in the project is where you kind of figure out whether this is going to be, this can continue, or it's like, no, I don't want this person on my team.
So it's like kind of dating before getting married.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good analogy. Let's start dating first.
The executive assistant was now, if you hire an executive assistant and you're even more removed, right? You're even starting, I think this is one of the fears, it's like, if I remove myself now, will these people take care of my baby the way that I would take care of my baby? So now if you remove yourself from it and you have your executive assistant come in and they're the ones that's talking to the client, like they take the client from that sales call and then they turn it over to the account manager. Now, what does that mean for you? And it was at least one client a month for her. And her clients are $25,000 a piece. So
that's actually such an extraordinary question, because it goes back to, what's possible. And often, why did I even start this whole business thing in the first place? It's because we want to make a difference. We want to have an impact. We want to impact people's lives. So, and it's, and I love that question. I am so stealing that question. But I'm so taking it on board, because it's such a question that brings us back to reflection. So then we often get stuck on the doing, but when I have the bigger picture, the doing becomes simple. And now you also gave us the steps to delegate properly. I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here week after week. Thank you for your likes, for your comments, for your messages about these episodes. These episodes, I learn a lot from them, but I do them for us so we can grow to a whole new level of accomplishment. Because really, so much more is possible. So thank you for being here week after week, and I will see you in 2022.